Steam locomotives were some of the most powerful machines ever built. They pulled trains that fueled our imagination. They represented vision, collaboration, ingenuity, customer service, and extraordinary human achievement. But in order to get to their destination, it took someone guiding them through a series of switches in order to get to the main line. Just like leaders today, it takes someone directing them down the right path in order to get to their destination. Welcome to Mainline Executive Coaching ACT, which stands for and Cultural Transformation, hosted by Master Certified Intelligent Leadership Executive Coaches Maikel Bailey and Rich Barron, with over 50 years of successful cultural transformation and quantum leadership development between them. Brought to you by Intelligent Leadership Executive Coaching, the world's foremost authority on cultural transformation and intelligent leadership development. Once again, thanks for joining us and enjoy today's show.
Welcome to Mainline Executive Coaching, ACT. Mainline Executive Coaching ACT. Time to act. And we're going to talk about the action that you take that relates to and cultural transformation. We are mainline leaders. That's what we do here. We are not only in terms of our experience, consulting, coaching, we are in the business of developing leaders and leadership. We do it in a quantum style, the sense of we take wherever you are, we then move it bit by bit, so that you are now just not looking at and hoping at some sort of level of potential that you'll get to one of these days. You are in it. You are in the game, and you're now actually developing that potential you always wish that you could get a hold of and do, but just somehow was evading you. But now let's take it another step. When you do that, you act, what happens to your people? How do they change? And they will change. I'll guarantee you that. They will transform, as will your whole culture. When you get it right, the whole thing starts to change in big ways. So I am here today with my partner, Rich Barron. I'm Maikel Bailey, and let's get started right now. Rich, what's your take on this whole idea of, well, aren't so great and the culture's not so great. So what's going on, man?
Okay, well, I'm going to start this out with a quiz for you. Now, this is a true or false quiz. Okay, yeah, pretty simple. So first question up. True or false? When an employee comes to you and wants to help solve a problem or is on a team with you, is it okay to tell them to stay in their lane? True or false?
I have been there, my friend. I have been that person saying, I got some great ideas and some great helps, and just show me the door. No, that is really not okay. Not if you want to have a great culture.
No, that would be false. Definite false on that. Next one up. When an employee comes to you with some feedback and wants to have a sincere conversation with you, it is absolutely okay to tell them, remember who you are talking to.
These are good. Yeah, that is. I've also had those conversations as well. Yeah, that is false. That is not such a hot idea.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here's another question. True or false? It's absolutely okay to tell your customer that because they were short shipped, it was due to a shipping issue, had nothing to do with anything in your facility.
This is hitting a close home. This just happened to me recently. Yeah. And, that's false. And ironically, the people that I had the problem with, man, they just stood right up and said, how can I help? Let's get this thing fixed. Yep. Yeah. So that's a false.
And it is okay to absolutely tell people, do as I say, not as I do.
Well, if you want to run your company into the ground, that would be a great thing to do, but otherwise, not so much.
These are all things that we've seen with people we've worked with. These are answers we've got from people we've worked with when you see cultural assessments or issues within an organization. Now, I got to tell you, these are things that can absolutely demoralize, change the face of a company when you're told to be dishonest to customers because you don't want to accept the blame. When you're told that no, you can't help this problem, stay in your lane, you don't know what you're doing, you don't belong here, or remember who you're talking to because I have a title in a corner office.
Yeah.
Be careful, know your audience. None of these things are okay. None of these things are okay and quite frankly, they're not going to help you build your culture. No, they simply won't. So, you said that something like that happened to you recently. What was that?
Well, the shipping problem. I had a shipping problem, and it got crazy and weirder day by day. Today, we're delivering your package. It never happened. It happened like 4 times. Never happened. They never delivered it. I finally had to go out to this one carrier and say, hey, here's what's going on. Help me find my package. In the meantime, I contacted the vendor. She was like, oh, wow, what's going on? Yeah, let me know what's going on. Let me, how can I help you? She was like right there, ready to help. So that's what I wanted to hear from her. And I love the product. And now that I got her response as one of the people in the company, I love the company even more.
Yeah, that's good. Strongest companies, strongest organizations are built on principles of trust and responsibility.
Yeah.
And those concepts are repeatedly highlighted by an empowered team. Your example will be continually repeated, good or bad. If it's okay to lie to our customers and tell them, oh, it wasn't our fault, didn't happen here, must have been shipping, must have been something that happened in shipping. And then the customer finds the truth and goes to somebody else, another manager has no clue, or another employee that has no clue what you're talking about, and they take the heat for it and have to try to come up with the right answer. Never a good thing to do.
Interesting in this particular case, I had 2 companies I was working with. There was the people that I ordered the products from originally, and then there was the shipping company itself. And there were some people in the shipping company that weren't not doing so good. They weren't telling me the truth. I don't know what the heck they were doing. I don't know what they were talking about. Oh yeah, we got that fixed. We got that taken care of. You're going to get your package, blah, 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 blah. Finally, I was lucky at the end to find 2 people in that organization, the shipping company, that just went. And this one gal said, I will find it. This person that I think knows, where it's at. They don't come in till 11. It's going to be right before I leave on my shift. And I'll call you the next day. I said, no, call me tonight at 11, 12 o'clock. Yeah, I said, yeah, I'll be fine. She did. She followed through, said, got your package.
Good.
Got it right now. So when you come by tomorrow, we'll have another. And then she was gone. Then another went down and talked to another employee. And she said, I'm not sure where it's at, but I'll go find it.
Yeah.
She found it. I just love those 2 gals that just went and did the extra work, went the extra mile. They redeemed, in my estimation, that shipping company.
That's one example of a good culture in an organization. If you don't have an answer for something, it is absolutely okay to say, I don't have the answer, but I'll find somebody who does.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's a great thing when you see that. It's a great thing when you see that operating. And when you don't see that operating, it's very frustrating. It's frustrating for everyone. Not only the clients, the customers, but everybody, even inside the company. It's very, very frustrating to them.
Right. Oh, absolutely. So let's talk about what happens, what you really see when you start to develop a good culture, a good sound culture based on a solid foundation.
Let me share with you a story of one of the people that years ago I hired to bring into a team that a remarkable person, just an absolutely remarkable person. You couldn't see it by looking at her resume. But as I interviewed her and as I talked to her, we did a little bit of stuff that we did some testing with people we were bringing on, and I could see the potential. I could see she had huge, huge potential. And so we put her into a very key position. She didn't know the business at all, but she picked it up very quickly. it was amazing how this woman absolutely blossomed in that role. She was amazing. She was one of those rare talents where she knew people, she understood people, and connected with people really well. She's also a great problem solver. She knew how to get things figured out, how to get things done, how to put together plans of action. And she was also a great leader. So she was this person that could be very compassionate. She was very smart, and she knew the right times when you hold somebody's feet to the fire. She was an incredible employee, absolutely incredible. Well, when she left, I left, and after that, she left as well, and she got employed by another person. Here's what's interesting about that. That person that hired her did not treat her all that great.
Yeah.
And she just kind of slowly went downhill. Till at the end, when she finally left the other company, she said, I'm leaving the company because I just don't feel like I'm of much use here. And her boss was actually the president of the company, was shocked. He couldn't believe that she was leaving. Why are you leaving? You're such a great employee. He said, you don't ever talk to me. I never know what's going on. I don't know what you expect of me. I just can't work in this kind of environment. And she left.
Yeah. It'll happen every time.
Yeah, it is.
And you know what? People won't always leave for more money. They won't always leave for more benefits. No. They will always leave if it's a poor work environment.
Yeah. It's a sad thing. I'm working with a group right now that had some very, very bad leadership. And going in and working with these good folks and seeing that the damage that was done just through neglect, through abuse, through manipulations, and through lies, that stuff cuts really, really deep. And now to see them starting to come out of it, starting to see them, engage in their roles, based upon their talents, their personalities, their experiences. It's a marvelous thing to see these people literally reconnecting to not only, their jobs and with the other employees, but even more fundamentally, what we talk about, that individual's core, who they fundamentally are. Because when you're in a situation and there's bad leadership, that really gets messed up inside. You don't know if you're trusted, if you're liked, if you're wanted, if you're valued. That stuff really gets people messed up. Yeah. And they can walk away from a job or be fired from that kind of employment, and it can affect them for years. And yet, here's the interesting thing, Rich. Here's what's really interesting. When you go in there as a skillful professional to help these people, to figure out what's really going on and what needs to be taken care of, and how to start letting go of the stuff that's happened in the past that's really affected them deeply, undermine their confidence, undermine their sense of self-esteem, undermine their just basic belief in who they are and what they can do. You go in there and you start doing the work, the kind of work that we do, it is remarkable. It is a remarkable in a relatively short time. I'm not talking about overnight or a month or two, but in a relatively short time, how things really change. Yeah. And not only do they change, those individuals change. The culture, because of who they are and how they're changing, the culture changes as well. While you're not talking to everybody in the business, they're right, but they are now going out there and they're working with the people, and because the people that they're working with, their direct reports, indirect reports, they start feeling it and they start responding differently. It's a remarkable thing.
It's interesting you say this, because when you start to see that positive change, the word gets out. The word gets out outside of your organization. The word gets out. This is a great place to work. So these are some of the things I just want to touch on, a couple of things that you'll see. What happens when you really commit, and I say commit, it's 100% commitment, not a halfway commitment. You have to change your mindset. You must do this in order to get a better organization. So 38% of all companies right now cite having a thin leadership pipeline as a serious human capital risk. But one of the positive benefits of you committing to leadership and cultural development, you're going to have a long line of employees and leaders wanting to join your company. You're not going to have to worry about searching for the right talent or the right heart to be your company. They're going to hear the word's going to get out. Word's going to get out.
I'll bet you that 38%, that number has grown. I bet it's bigger than it was.
And that was a 2018 survey.
Yeah, I
So
bet you that's
yeah,
grown
it's
since
been a
over the
while.
last couple of years, and just because of the things that are happening,
Yeah,
because there's more and more unknown, there's more and more disconnection in the workplace. Employers are scrambling to
yeah,
figure out, how do we hire right? How do we attract these people? How do we retain these people? It's and you would think it'd be a fairly simple thing for them to figure out, but they don't know. They really are struggling,
yeah.
because here's why: we are in territory we have never ever been before.
No, you're absolutely right.
Business has been turned upside down, and how business works has been turned upside down, and the rules that used to work don't work anymore. There is a set of rules, you might say, and a logic to this new place, and it's not all about millennials and Generation X and Z. It's not all about that. There's something
No,
else that's going on that's a lot deeper. And yet, with that, the deeper level of what's really going on, it really is the human factor. That's what gives me hope. It's not a generational factor, though there are some things that come in it. But the fundamental issues here are human factors, human issues. That's what's really going on. That's why we can help them.
I got to tell you, this younger generation, we you often hear the comparison between millennials and whoever, but I'll tell you what, incredibly smart, incredibly gifted people coming out of this who want to be engaged and and want to help, want to grow, want to be part of a bigger picture. There really is, and it's phenomenal if you just tap into that. Tap into that. Here's another thing, Maikel, and this is I want anybody, these leaders out here listening, because this is always a big sign for me. It's a huge sign. When you walk in the front door of any company, matter of fact, I want you to walk out to the parking lot in your company and walk through the front door and just stop and listen and look around. What is it? Is it dark? Is it gloomy? Is, what does the person sit behind the receptionist desk? Is she smiling? She happy to see you? Can you hear laughter? Can you hear people talking? Or does it feel like you just entered a mausoleum?
Yeah.
Uh, you know, Big indication. That's for me is a huge indication what it feels like when you walk in. What's the energy like? You could
Yeah.
feel it. It's palpable. It
Yeah.
truly is. Either
Yeah.
way,
Yeah.
um, so do that. Walk down the hallway of a company. What do you hear? Get on a Zoom call. What do you hear? Do you hear people laughing, joking, or is everybody click their cameras off and everybody's on mute?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
And it can go from this kind of extremes of, it's quiet, it's almost like a tomb, and people are just doom and gloom kind of stuff. There's that. And then there's the other kind that's the other end, where it's very frenzied, it's very hectic. People are
yeah,
very anxious and they're running around. I mean, it can be those two extremes. Somewhere in the middle is this sense of high energy, this sense of purpose, this sense of direction, this sense of connection. The people are happy and they are purposeful in terms of their work and even how they walk. They have a purpose.
no,
They're
yeah,
going
yeah,
someplace. There's this just feel good energy of, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad
yeah.
you're here. What can we do to help you? What are your needs here? It's a totally different feel. And leaders, you got to be honest with yourself when you take a look at that. Take a look at your retention. Take a look at the cost for your health care. Take a look at people showing up on time. Take a look at people in terms of their motivation, willing to do the work, and to not only do the work, but to do it well, and to even go the extra mile, not because they have to, but because they want to, because they have that high level commitment, not only to the organization, but as high sense of commitment of who it is they are and what they're bringing to the organization. Those are
Oh,
big keys.
absolutely, absolutely. I mean, there's so many, things that, that goes back to employees being energized.
Hmm?
There's that energy. There's that energy. People want to come to work. Ask yourself, why do you get up in the morning? Is it for a paycheck? Then I'm just going to go and work for another paycheck today. I got to get my 8, come home, or whatever that may be. Or do you wake up in the morning thinking about what you can do that day? I got these great ideas. I'm so excited to be a part of this team. Now we're going to implement this project today. I'm so excited to be a part of this. Uh, you know, what can I do today to help somebody? I've got these great customers I get to visit today. I'm really looking forward to seeing their faces. Or, dang it, I got to drive to work. I got a 30-minute drive or whatever. And, whatever it's going to be. It's who actually ask yourself, what do I feel like in the morning? And the most important person, if you're listening to us, to ask yourself this, is the CEO, the senior leadership of your company. Why are you doing what you're doing? Studies show in the whole grand scheme of things, all these countries around the world, all these great CEOs around the world, how many of them are truly respected as leaders? Only 5% is really thought of as rock stars. That's only the real rock star CEOs we know, the ones that really made a difference.
Yeah, extraordinary people.
And then there's a percentage beyond that, not a huge percentage, of CEOs who are truly respected in their organizations. Now ask yourself, why do you get up in the morning? Why are you the head of this company? Why are you doing what you're doing? Are you truly wanting to make your organization something that can make a positive impact on the world today? Are you growing the next generation of phenomenal leaders in your company? Because if you're not, you need to rethink what your position is.
There's an interesting phenomenon that takes place when you get the culture right. And I don't want to fool or trick anybody into thinking, oh, well, I get my culture right, everybody's going to be happy. Not true. But if you get your cultures where it's highly productive and happy, there's a sense of joy in their work, a sense of connecting to other people, you will see something. You will see more people engaged. That's the one thing you'll see. Interestingly enough, people start identifying and saying, this really isn't the right place for me to be. And they won't do it in some sort of stealth way or walking around and talking behind, people's back, because they feel safe here to just communicate it, because it's a healthy place. It's a productive place. It's a place where they feel accepted. They just recognize this isn't for me. And they will say, I need to leave because it's just not for me. That's a healthy sign. That's a healthy choice for that person to make. And then other people will just, if they're not very healthy themselves, they'll just kind of drop off. So what I'm saying is, when you get the culture right, the culture itself has its own kind of mind, its own kind of sense of being about what really works in it. And I don't mean controlling or manipulating. It has its own sense of how it all works. And it will invite the right people in. And the people that don't belong there anymore, they will feel safe to leave, or they'll just leave.
Yeah.
That's what great culture does. It's as if it's almost, Napoleon Hill talked about the mastermind. It's a real thing. It really is a real thing. And maybe there's something that we might coin the frame about the mastermind culture, that the culture in itself is an entity. It is has a life of its own, because when the people come together, they create that, what you're talking about earlier, a kind of energy, which is greater than the sum of all the pieces. It's something greater. And that's what makes great companies as well as great cultures.
Yeah. So it absolutely does. And here's another thing. You're going to find that when you have a great culture, people are going to embrace new ideas. Yeah. Instead of, there's another change, and they're going to put their feet in. And, we don't want to change, whatever. But, man, if it's a good, they're going to embrace the new ideas because the last ones were awesome. And they really helped us out, be successful. So here's the thing. This is the one thing I want to leave with, on my end. There was a recent study, and I've talked about this before, and we've talked about this, Maikel. 7,000 leaders in 150 countries worldwide. 86% of them stated, culture is very important to the success of our organization. Culture. It's a word you hear all the time. Culture, 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 culture. Okay? We have great culture. But when they dove down into that, 29% thought they knew what culture was. Could really maybe put something to, pen and paper. Well, this is what we think culture is. 19%, only 19% of those 7,000 global leaders, about 1,300 leaders, said that we think not for certain, we think we have a good culture in place. Not one was certainly did. Now, if that's the case, and we're talking 150 countries worldwide, if you don't understand what truly building a culture in your organization entails, come talk to us. There are great people out there who know how to help you. Maikel Bailey, he's a great guy. He can help you. He's done this 4 years, 30 years, or in with how many clients, how many countries have you done this in, Maikel?
Well, I've been in a lot of different countries, worked with a lot of different people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the kind of thing where it is a matter of people are the same. When you really start taking a look at it, they are the same, and they basically want the same kinds of things. It's just a matter of reading through the cultural signals and all that kind of stuff. But when it really gets down to it, people want to feel the sense of being accepted. They want to feel like they belong, that they're welcome there. There's a sense of comfort, not in terms of being comfortable, but there's a sense of, we got your back. We're working with you. We're together. We're in this together. And there's a sense of safety, not only in terms of physical safety, like the OSHA stuff and all the other kinds of sense, but there's a sense that in this group, we take care of each other.
Yeah.
And that's what you want to be able to do. How do you get there? It's an easy thing to destroy a culture. I'm telling you, it's really easy.
Oh, yeah.
If you know the right things to do.
What we talked about at the first. A few of those comments to your employees will undermine months and months and months of positive reinforcement. It truly happens. You've got to maintain, especially in a senior leadership position. Now, we all have bad days, but you got to understand you have to be vigilant all the time.
Now, that reminds me, what you're hitting on here, and you've hit it on a couple of times, I think this is another podcast we could talk about. How do you wake up? You talk about this as a leader in your organization. How do you wake up to your company's, your business's objectives? How do you wake up to it every day? And we can almost put it not kind of in a formula, but there's a step-by-step process that allows you to connect up to your objectives. And if you're not going through that regular kind of process that connects up to your objectives, this is where we're going now. This is what we got to get to this next month. If you're not doing that, I'm telling you, you're fighting a losing battle. But we can show you what to do with that. We can actually show you what to do. This would be another great podcast for us, Rich.
Absolutely.
All right, let's wrap it up. If they want to get a hold of us, they want to talk to us. If they want to say, okay, maybe I need a little bit of help here. I don't know. We've lost how many people this week? I don't know. We could use some help maybe. How do they get a hold of us?
Right. Executive Leaders Act, ILEC.com. Go there, look us up, book some time with us. Tell us how you feel. Let's sit down and talk. Let's just get to know each other. That's how this all begins. It's not about a sales pitch or anything like that. It's simply sitting down and getting to know each other.
A conversation.
Getting a rapport. So who are we shouting out to? I mean, we've got a lot of people out there to shout out to.
I would like to shout out to the people that are down in Texas that are watching us. I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for watching us. Texas is a great state. It's been a great state for a long time. It is a leader among states, in terms of how it goes and it addresses businesses and people's lives. I think it's a fabulous state. So all those people down there in Texas that are watching us, thank you. Thank you so much. Keep watching. We'll keep producing for you.
All righty. And once again, thanks, folks. We're at the end of another Mainline Executive ACT episode. And this is Rich Barron and Maikel Bailey signing off. Till next time, have a great night and take care.
Yeah, all the best.
With all of the issues facing organizations today, leadership development and cultural transformation are needed more than ever. Go to our website, Executive Leaders Act, ILEC.com. Book some time with us. Let's sit down and talk and get you on the path to success. This podcast was brought to you by Intelligent Leadership Executive Coaching, ILEC, the world's foremost authority on leadership development and cultural transformation. Once again, for Mainline Executive Coaching ACT, this is Rich Barron and Maikel Bailey. Thank you for joining us, and take care.